Everybody keeps asking if AI is alive, if it's conscious, if it's dangerous, if it's the future. Every other day, there's another headline. AI is replacing jobs. AI is changing education. AI is helping people work faster. AI is becoming a part of our daily lives. And honestly, I think we're asking the wrong questions. Because after spending months watching people talk about AI and interact with AI, I've noticed something strange. No matter where the conversation starts, it always leads back to the same place. Us, human beings, human needs. And the more I looked into the AI, the less interested I became in what the technology could do, and the more interested I became in what people were using it for. People use AI for advice, for comfort, for companionship, for reassurance, understanding, for connection. And that's where things start to get interesting. Because AI didn't create those needs. Those needs were already here. Loneliness was here before AI. Disconnection was here before AI. The desire to be understood was here before AI. The need for meaning was here before AI. AI didn't invent those things. It revealed them. Maybe that's why so many people are turning to it. Not because they're obsessed with technology, but because they're searching for something. And I don't think that something is information. I think it's connection. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized this conversation isn't really about AI at all. It's about us. Because what is AI really? A machine? Sure. A tool? Absolutely. But it's also something else. It's language. And language is powerful. Long before AI existed, language could inspire people, comfort people, manipulate people, unite people, divide people, start movements, end relationships, change lives. Language has always had power. AI didn't invent the power of language, it industrialized it. And I don't think we fully wrapped our minds around what that yet means. Because for most of human history, language has come from another human being, a friend, a parent, a teacher, a mentor, a preacher, a partner. Now it can come from something else, something that is available 24 hours a day, something that responds instantly, something that never gets tired, something that can sound understanding even when it doesn't understand. And that's where things get weird. Because humans are social creatures. We respond to language, we respond to attention, we respond to being heard. And sometimes those responses happen before we're even aware of them. Which brings me to something else I've noticed. People will tell AI things they would never tell another person. Their fears, their regrets, their insecurities, their dreams, their deepest questions. And when you really stop and think about it, that's kind of strange. That's kind of bizarre. Why does a machine sometimes feel safer than another human being? Maybe because it doesn't laugh, it doesn't gossip, it doesn't reject you, it doesn't get annoyed, it doesn't get tired of listening. And maybe that should make us pause. Not because AI is human, but because it isn't. Yes, somehow millions of people are turning to it for things that they once looked to each other for. Advice, comfort, validation, understanding, companionship. And I keep coming back to the same question. What does that say about us? What does it say about us? What does it say about the world that we've built for our children? Because I keep hearing the same thing from different people, different ages, different backgrounds, different beliefs, the same complaint. People feel disconnected. People feel lonely, unseen. People feel like no one is listening to them. And then comes along technology that's always available, always responsive, always willing to engage. Of course, people are going to be drawn to it. Maybe the bigger surprise would be if they weren't. But we have to be honest. Everyone is not going to use AI the same way. For some people, AI is going to stretch their creativity. It's going to help them learn, help them build, help them think, help them create things that they never would have created on their own. For other people, it may become a substitute for curiosity, a substitute for thinking, maybe even a substitute for effort, a substitute for human connection. And I don't think we know yet which outcome will be more common. And I also think we're still just figuring out what we're figuring out, because the conversation usually swings between extremes. Either it's just a calculator or it's basically alive. Either it's the greatest invention ever or it's the end of humanity as we know it. And honestly, I don't find either extreme very interesting. I'm more interested in the middle, the messy middle, the unanswered questions, the onion layers, because every answer seems to reveal another question underneath it. What happens when intelligence becomes a product? What happens when intelligence becomes a product? What happens when emotional support becomes a service? What happens when companionship becomes scalable? What happens when some of the most powerful conversational systems in human history are owned by corporations? These aren't anti-AI questions, they're human questions. Then there's another layer. Maybe every generation has been searching for some of the same things: meaning, truth, understanding, belonging, connection, purpose. Maybe the tools change. Yeah, maybe the technology changes. Sure. But the search remains the same. Religion, philosophy, relationships, politics, self-help, technology, AI, different paths, similar questions. And that's why this topic fascinates me, because I don't think AI is just changing technology. I think it's forcing us to look at ourselves. It's forcing us to ask uncomfortable questions, questions about loneliness, questions about community, questions about trust, questions about what we actually need from one another, human to human. We used to have more places where people gathered. Y'all remember? Inside the neighborhoods, the churches, the clubs, community spaces, community centers, spaces where people belonged, spaces where people were known. And when those things disappear, something eventually fills the gap. Something always does. We order food through apps. We date through apps. We work through screens. We entertain ourselves through algorithms. Why would companionship be any different? And maybe that's the sharpest question of all. If millions of people are turning to AI for comfort, for advice, for validation, for companionship, for understanding, what does that say about the world we've built for humans? Maybe AI isn't creating a new need. Maybe it's exposing an old one. Maybe the most important thing AI has revealed isn't what machines can do. Maybe it's what people have been missing. Everybody keeps asking if AI is becoming more human. Maybe the real question is why so many humans are looking for things they once found in each other. And maybe, just maybe, you'd see that we're not searching for AI at all. Maybe we're searching for each other. Thank y'all so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next one. Drop your thoughts, your comments, and let me know, do you agree? Do you disagree?